Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for PIK Presents Live from the Knitting Wars. I'm Deplorable Knitter. The lovely lady to my, I don't know what side she is on the TV, is Anne. And then the lady in the middle on the bottom there is Morgan. So
Hi.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Sorry we're late. There were some difficulties, as happens. So what's up, guys?
Oh, and as means of introduction to Morgan, that she has a brand new podcast called Handmade by M.E. There's a period under or after each when you're looking her up. So yeah, great to have you on. I mean, you're often in the comments, so it's nice to talk to you like this.
It's so funny because I was kind of remembering the other day. I'm like, I've been watching you guys since episode 1, and I'm kind of it's kind of surreal that now I'm on Knitting Wars. It's kind of all right, this is awesome.
It's fun though.
Well, don't let it get to your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's happening, friends? What's new? Nothing?
Not a whole lot. Just knitting, watching true crime, cleaning, unfortunately. Lots and lots of cleaning. But, try to work in as much knitting as I can,
Yeah, that's true.
You said a little bit before you start, are you working on a Murder Knits cardigan for the summer of murder?
I am. I'm trying to finish this purl row, so when we do the timed thing, I'll be on the knit side. But yeah, so we're humble beginnings yet. I'm trying to just get through the whole thing of stockinette for my size and just get that over with, and then I can move on to the fun part with all the cables and everything. So
right.
Yeah, definitely. And then I've got my faux set too that I finally it's because it's been a while since I've shown it, but I finally ended up splitting for the sleeves. If I can get it like that. So I'm not very very far into the body, but I'm so happy.
But look, Morgan, you're farther than I am. I am casting on as we sit here.
Well,
so
I can guarantee
this is mine.
That it's gonna go fast. From there, it'll fly.
That's right.
Did you do the short row shaping? Oh, sorry, Anne.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you do the short row shaping at the back of the neck or no?
Nope.
I think I'm gonna throw some in there because I don't want it being
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah, makes sense though.
That's cool. Yeah. And what about you? You got anything fun happening at your house?
Me? Well, I can finish my thing. I am just working on my own personal sock challenge, and everyone else has sock challenges too, so I can piggyback off them. Like the summer sock camp, I'm like, great, I'm there. And Anna Knitter, her challenge for this month is anything with striped sock yarn. I'm like, fantastic! I'm gonna beast at this. It's gonna be amazing. But here. So I showed these before, but I finished these. Ta-da! There's Lovely. There's 2 of them.
Pretty.
Yeah, they're the extra whip sock out of Coffee House Knits. It's a knitting book anyways. But yeah, and then I started working on this guy.
Ooh.
So yeah.
What kind of yarn is that one? What Picasso? Is it Picasso?
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. What Van Gogh colorway is that?
I don't know what the painting is called because it's in German. So Morgan could read it. Well, I can't. But
I might be able to pronounce it. Yeah.
They're in a field, and it's very exciting. But and then I have the heels. I had some tweed left over from my Betsy Ross kits back in the day for my Betsy Ross hat pattern. Oh, crud. And I dropped a stitch in my heel. oh, that's just going to screw everything up. Anyways, I'll fix that later. But anyways, that, yeah, so I had some red tweed left over from that. So thought that that'd coordinate nicely. But yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Cool. Somebody, Elle, I think, said that she made 2 posettes, and the weight of the sweater and DK usually keeps it in place without short rows. Well,
nice.
That's good to know. I'm quite busty. I'm going to give myself a little bit of extra help in this regard, just so that I don't have, because if I hate it, we all know I never make sweaters, right? I never make anything that takes like longer than 37 minutes. So if I'm going to put the effort in, I've got to make sure I'm going to want to wear it.
Yep.
And if 3 short rows will make that a little bit more comfortable, then I'm going to do it.
There you go.
For sure.
It's just my story about that. I've had a long day. I was running a little bit late, and then the internet wasn't working, but I got a birthday present for someone. Not Morgan, sorry.
Because they might stop for another like 6+ months, so that's all right.
So it's plenty
of time. So you wouldn't have thought it was you.
Wink. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you get for the girl who has everything? I've been struggling with this. I've had a Christmas present sitting on my dresser since like October of last year. Never mailed it. So now I've got the Christmas present and the birthday present.
Perfect.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Adam, we think that Neil was feeling tired and didn't want to stay up to be involved in our tomfoolery, if you can actually believe that.
Yeah, now that we've pushed the programming to later in the day because of job stuff.
Yeah, it's hard for him.
Difficult for him, who's many hours ahead. So.
Yes, he's tired. I mean, I'm tired now. I couldn't imagine trying to stay up for like 5 more hours to do this. I'd be like done.
Me neither.
Oh, I love to sleep. I can't. Neil's up all the time. I can't do it. I gotta sleep, man.
Yeah.
The more the merrier, for real.
And speaking of Neil, so I admit, Morgan, I haven't caught up on your podcast, but I did see your interview with Neil.
I haven't either.
Yeah,
I didn't see that either.
Of fun. Lots of fun. It was, we talked about lots and lots of things. So it was really, really fun to do, for sure. And it was kind of funny that, because I, had told him for probably, I mean, at least a year, if not 2, that I was going to, do a podcast. And I'd be like, okay, yep, I'm going to do it. And then, I'd start to think about it and think about, okay, how am I going to do it? And then I just was like, nope, never mind. And so I kept saying I was going to, and then I wouldn't for the longest time. And then I finally just was like, why not?
Yeah.
So,
sometimes you just have to do it. Like,
yeah.
Perfection is there's a saying about it. But you've just got to do it. If you wait for perfection, it's never going to happen.
Right.
That's my new saying. The other one will come to me, the real one. Morgan's podcast is called Handmade by M.E.
Yep.
And so you can find it. Somebody else was asking in the comments, so there you go.
Yeah, when I was trying to come up with a name, I was, just sort of stumped, and I had seen like lots of hashtags on Instagram with like knitting and crocheting and stuff like that, and it was always hashtag handmade. And then I got to thinking, I was like, so the capital M and E part that I put at the end, so M is for my first name, Morgan, and then the E is the first letter of my middle name. And so I was like, I'm like, this will work. So I just
it's pretty tricky.
Went with that. So
yeah.
Like, all right.
Anne and I, when we named our thing Politically Correct Knitters, we were kind of like, I don't know if that's what we want. Well, we can always change it. Let's just go with it. And now here we are 3 years in, because apparently once you start with it, you generally don't change it.
Right.
We found out.
Mess with perfection.
Here. Sorry for my clicking, but
That's not...
put the link to her podcast in the comments.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Thank you.
So it's been fun, just I've been kind of telling myself, well, maybe I should, extend recordings out a little bit, because I kind of noticed like doing it once a week. I mean, there's only so much progress that I can make in a week, especially if I'm being
that
like,
way a lot.
Monogamous, especially it's just like, okay, here's this that I showed you last week. Here it is now. It looks pretty much the same. And so I was kind of like,
has another inch on it. Yay.
Right. It's like, all right. So I'm like, let's just maybe, and then by, by chance, just with how life's, sort of been going recently, I just haven't really had time to record another episode. And I thought, okay, well, that's fine, because now I've got, more progress on this. I'm starting the Murder Knits cardigan. So like, at least I'll have a little bit more to show, and maybe have it be like slightly longer than like what feels like 10 minutes sometimes. So,
Yeah. I mean, you've watched us forever. You know that there are weeks where we're both like, well, we didn't knit, so here, let's talk news, which is at least handy. We have that to fall back on, because there are weeks or months where I have nothing to show. So
yeah. So I'm thinking about what I want to maybe incorporate, sort of, alongside the crafting. So I've kind of toyed around with the true crime thing, maybe being more sort of specific to my home state of Wisconsin. So,
Wisconsin's got a lot of serial killers.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, actually, how many there are, and how some of them are pretty well. Actually, for the Summer of Murder, I actually rewatched a documentary on Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's still, when you watch it, like, it's still just very interesting how, like, I can be like, I know where that is. Not that, like, not like you could go there now and see anything there, because it's not in a good part of Milwaukee at all. So it's kind of like, but yeah, it's just very, very interesting. Kind of creepy sometimes, but
Yeah. But I don't know. I saw someone post something online. It was talking about how Jeffrey Dahmer was actually pretty conservative in a lot of things. It's like, we all know that your social political overlap is much more than Jeffrey Dahmer than you'd like to admit. Like, ooh, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, I don't really either. It's just like it's just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, I mean, being conservative, it's like, well, yeah, but you wouldn't think that, in somebody's mind, it's like being conservative, and then, oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and, murder, 17 people, and be like, okay, yeah,
it's kind of like when they
values.
When they put on Netflix, they have the tags for all of their content, and they put him on a tag for, pride. It's like, I don't think the gays want him either.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a bit dodgy there, but
Hey, Stephanie, you can take it after
Stephanie.
All. I don't know if I told the rest of the panel that you were maybe coming. So, hi, Stephanie's here.
You told me.
Hey, there we go.
Surprise.
That's the most important one. Sorry, Morgan, but it is most important to tell DK if she's going to be on the show.
That's okay. I like surprises anyway. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. I'm super intrigued by all of these people who like true crime, because it's not a thing I ever thought of.
Yeah, so, it's fun. Hey, Amy.
Hey. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I'm super sunburned, so.
Oh no, how come?
Just
life.
Redhead. So.
Yeah, sunburn is the worst.
Yeah, I've just been running around today, so I haven't, like, no makeup, no, nothing to cover up the sunburn. Hey, Amy, you've got your mom bun. I'm all about the
This is how I always look. So work, church.
I wear that.
And she's gone.
Internet must have gone
The
out or
bun
something.
got her.
No.
All right.
The bun
back.
got
Or at least I hope she'll be back. Otherwise, oof. But anyways, how's it going, guys?
Howdy.
We already kind of did introductions and what are you working on. So, Amy, what are you working on?
My blankie.
Oh,
That is beautiful. There she is. She's back.
Yeah, no. I'll come back as much as I can. I was saying though, when I'm not on the podcast, that's exactly how I wear my hair, Amy, all the time.
This is just how I look all the time. I don't care. You've seen our podcast. You know I don't care.
Well, I was just visiting our friend Elizabeth at her house from You and I.
Oh, fun. Because you're both in Texas now.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
We are like exactly 30 minutes apart.
Nice.
So it's not bad. And
Cool.
It's the second time we've been able to get together. And it's just great. Everybody needs yarny friends. Even better if they're close by.
Right.
Definitely.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I still really want to get down to Texas eventually. I had an opportunity to go, but then work ended up getting in the way. So I was really, really disappointed because my boyfriend ended up showing, like a picture of like some barbecue that he ordered there, and I was like, oh, you just had to rub it in that I couldn't go. It's like, one day though, one day.
There is some really good barbecue here.
I'm going in the fall to New Braunfels, so.
Oh yeah, there's good barbecue there. I feel like everywhere in Texas you get kind of a different barbecue style. So, but
Yum.
yeah, I'm in the North Texas area, and we have family in the Houston area and in South Texas in like the Rio Grande Valley, which we refer to as the Valley. And everyone I talk to that's not from Texas thinks I'm talking about California, but no, the Texas Valley. And I don't think it's actually a valley. I just think it's the bottom of the state. So I don't know. I had to learn that when I moved here because my husband is from there.
All the little geographical differences.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, and before we move on a bit, part of the reason that I asked Stephanie on is some actual little bit of knitting news. Cascade Yarns on their Instagram. So they put up this post, which Stephanie pointed out to me first because it was a little bizarre. I don't know if you want to say about it.
Well, so if this post had happened in, say, October, because it's like close to Halloween, I probably wouldn't have thought anything of it. I probably would have been like, oh, well, it's Halloween there. But so the post actually said, I think it said, I practice stitchcraft. So it's a play on words. It's kind of like witchcraft. And there was all these kind of weird symbols on it that maybe if you really were into witchcraft, those would be your kind of thing. And my thought was, this is just a really weird post. Like, it was out of nowhere. It's not related to anything else they had on their Instagram. They had been showing like different patterns and their yarns and things, and then all of a sudden,
I think it was someone made a crochet dog and they reposted a picture of it. Normal yarn store things.
And like I said, if it had happened in October, I probably wouldn't have even noticed it. I would have been like, oh, that's a Halloween thing. But we commented, I was like, this is just really weird. You know, like, what are you trying to tell us? And Anne commented, and then I noticed somebody else commented about feeling like all the big businesses were out to get Christians, which that wasn't like my take on it. It was more just like, this is weird. It's out of left field.
Right. No, my comment was that it was sort of weird to have, I mean, what, like you said, if it was in October, I would have gone, wow, Halloween. But, you know, in June, I'm like, is this a religious statement from a yarn company? It's kind of wacky. It's not like, again, it's not celebrating a big holiday. It's not anything like that, like woohoo on Ramadan. It's not like one of those messages. It's I don't know. It was sort of weird to me because, like I said, I mean, generally, if you're into like a witchy aesthetic, okay, cool, whatever. But there is an uptick in people taking it very seriously. And it's weird that yarn companies, I mean, I know Joanne sells like tarot cards now. I'm like, what? Or tarot, sorry.
Right.
But I'm like, this is really weird for a craft store. Like, really weird. And that Cascade Yarns thinks it's cool to get on it. I'm like, why? I don't understand. Anyways.
Yeah. So they deleted our comments, which I found even more fascinating, that we weren't rude at all, other than just pointing out that it was kind of odd. And there weren't any comments that were like outright rude, I would say, but they deleted all of ours, and they just left the comments of the people who were like, I need this on a t-shirt, or yeah, girl, me too.
Weird too. I mean, I don't know exactly how old the post was before we commented, probably at least a day old.
Yeah.
By the time you do it. But when I first commented, there were 2 comments maybe, right. And then there was suddenly 5 very positive ones. It was not that people can't just like a post to like a post, but it was like, this smells a little astroturfy to me, especially since you just deleted my comment, which was weird.
Yeah, it was all just really bizarre. And honestly, I wish that if your company is not just you as a person, like if it's like an actual like business with like lots of people, you shouldn't necessarily be putting out faith statements unless like that's your thing. Does that make sense? Like I know Hobby Lobby kind of is like Christian oriented and like, but they're not constantly like posting Bible verses on their Instagram, and not that I know of. And
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like when it's a corporation and they put out like a faith statement, it's kind of odd, because does that represent the whole corporation? Does it represent all their employees? I don't know.
It represents the woke ones that are running social media is what it is.
The keyboard warriors.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it was probably just their social media person was bored and didn't have any ideas and were scrolling through their phone. They're like, hey, I took this cool picture in October. And
I want this on a t-shirt. Other people might like this too. Like, let's put it up there. Yeah.
They probably didn't even make the graphic. It probably came from somewhere else. So.
Yeah.
Not unlikely.
So, yeah. Just odd.
It's interesting. I missed it. Anne told me about it, and then after we stopped talking, I immediately went away and forgot that conversation ever happened. So I didn't see it, but
it's still there.
I'm sure it is. I just I don't know why all these companies have to, like, can't we just talk about knitting? Like Stephanie was saying, you know, some companies put stuff out there, and like 7 Weeks Coffee, they're constantly talking about how, like, you know, babies are babies and they're humans and but that's their brand. That's what they are built on. So, you know what? But that's my point is like, okay, so if you get mad at 7 Weeks Coffee, that's on you, because they told you right there that that's what they're doing.
They're about.
Yeah.
Why?
But like these rest of them, you know, I mean, Nitpicks hates us, but remember when they got like so mad at us for like, you know, not wanting their bull, and then
well, and
they just
why is it okay to promote witchcraft, but it's not okay to promote Christianity? Like, why can they put up that and it should be fine and accepted, but you can't post something about another religion, specifically Christianity a lot of the time, and then you get like thrown to the dogs. So it's just, you know,
yeah, I don't know.
so quite odd. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I just looked. The post is
What?
still up there, but there's only maybe like a handful of comments. Like, there's not even that many comments at all on there. Like, I was expecting to see like a whole like chain of like, you know, but no, there's like I could probably count on like both hands how many comments there are on there. It's just really, really weird.
Well, and I looked back in their Instagram, and people don't interact with the Cascade Yarns Instagram a whole lot. Like, they don't get a ton of likes, they don't get a ton of comments. And I think that's because people that follow them might follow them just to like hear about sales, or,
right.
You know, they're not really, they don't feel like they're interacting with a person. It's just like, this is so I make sure I get the sales ad. You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's like following Hobby Lobby and be like, what's
right.
his face? Talk to me. Like,
I don't need to comment on their posts. Like,
no.
Yeah.
And you don't really buy through Cascade directly anyways. You go to Webs, you go to your yarn store, you go to other places. That
True.
Exactly.
I don't know. Buy their yarns. I don't know.
So I don't know. It was just weird. That's my statement. That's the one you can put in the paper. I just thought it was really weird. So
No,
life is weird lately.
I don't know. I think that companies are just kind of, yeah, everything is weird. I have no idea, man. So,
yeah.
Besides Cascades, what's new with you, Stephanie? Is there anything exciting going on?
Well, we're having summer here, which is good.
Yes.
And
what?
not summer heat, but like summer not forcing my children to do school every day.
Okay. Okay.
And which is great. I mean, we don't normally have huge issues homeschooling, but mommy needs like a break. And like they don't realize that I'm looking forward to summer way more than they are. And so we've just been, working in our garden. I've got some tomato plants that are going insane, and one of our hens just hatched chicks, which I've shared a lot of pictures of because they're so adorable.
They are.
And so we're just like living the pioneer life out here in Texas. And
that's awesome.
I'm sorry. I think what you meant to say is you're being an extremist.
That too, growing man.
Homeschooling Catholic women growing their own food.
Know your place. Okay.
You better be afraid, because I'm going full force into all of it. So, but it's nice because my husband's a public school teacher. And so he's home for the summer, but he's doing lots of professional development. He's running a camp this summer and lots of things too. And so just a little bit of everything. We don't really travel a whole lot in the summer because we have animals. We can't really leave super easily. And, but that's okay. That's the way it is.
Yeah. That's cool. It's so funny to hear how, so my guess is that you're one of those homeschool moms that like actually is like, hey, every day we're going to do this. Whereas in my house, it's like, if we hit 3 days a week, we're pretty good. So we're going to probably homeschool all summer also, because I don't want to like get behind. So.
Well, I think your kids might be a little younger than mine. What's your oldest age?
10.
10. Okay. Yeah, my oldest is about to be 14, and we're getting ready to sign up for
Yeah.
high school, which is exciting. But homeschool high school, not regular high school.
Right.
But my youngest son is a kindergartner this year, and in our co-op, they gave out little kindergarten certificates saying, "Oh, good job, you finished kindergarten." And so he got to like walk across the stage and get his kindergarten award. He refused to do anything after that. Like if I was like, "Okay, we gotta do some letters," he's like, "Mommy, I'm done. Like this is over." I got my paper. You want me to show you? So, and I basically just stopped. I was like, "Okay, fine. You have a point. You're done."
Okay, you win.
Yeah,
That's fun.
so we'll
It's kindergarten. It'll be okay.
I know, like kindergarten is like this is mostly for fun, and we'll just regroup in the fall.
Yeah.
So
We're not going to do full school though. We're just going to like do math and reading.
yeah,
Because, and like my kids, they have some games that they play, and like they'll be like, "What can we do? We're bored." I'm like, "Hey, go play your learning game," and they go and play their, and they think that they're like getting video game time, and they're really like doing like math. So,
yes,
you know, I'm not going to complain.
it's
but
good to have those things.
That's always
yeah.
good.
Anne, were you homeschooled?
I was partially homeschooled, but yes.
Partially? Okay. I always kind of wondered because I'm not sure you ever said it that I heard. So
Right.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've said it on the show before, but I mean,
Okay.
not like constantly. So
I find that a lot of the independent thinkers were homeschooled. So
That is true. Yep.
So Morgan, what part of the country are you in?
Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we seem to hit our summer here full stride too. Like normally, you know, during like May, it's kind of like a hit or miss as to whether or not it's actually like consistently warm, and you know, but I mean, really, like May was actually pretty nice, and now June, it's kind of it's full stop. You know, like in the 80s. It's actually been in the 90s this week. So of course, I'm kind of like I can't do that, which is why like I probably wouldn't be able to go to Texas or Louisiana during the summertime because I would probably die. So I'm always like, let's take a vacation during like fall or maybe our Wisconsin winter because it's utter like hell during winter. So
someone like in our Telegrammy chat says her child is down here for a reason, so she's gonna come down and visit. I was like, you know, this is love that I am willing to come A, to the city where I might die, and B, in the middle of June.
Yeah. Speaking of that, though, you know, I recently had to go to the city, Milwaukee. Don't know, y'all know it, you know, at all.
I've been to Milwaukee.
You have?
I mean, I haven't said I was going to, but then I had to like try on my sock, and then I had to go off camera while doing that because, you know, don't want it to be a foot thing. I actually went to summer camp. I worked at a summer camp for 10 summers in northern Wisconsin. So yeah, I totally get
Where in North Wisconsin?
Chautauqua.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's up there, yeah.
Indeed it is. So I totally get it's May, it should be warm. It is not really. It's kind of a lie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's actually kind of surprising how this year it's been pretty steady, honestly. But yeah, I recently had to drive to Milwaukee. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like people in the city, they kind of drive like jerks, like anyway. But then it's just like, it's also Milwaukee. And it's like, you know, and it's like the whole entire time I'm like nervous being there. And I just like, essentially, like, as soon as I had the chance to go home, I was like, all right, yep, sounds good. But, you know, like the whole, like, stereotypical, like, Midwest goodbye, that did not occur. I was like, okay, yep, goodbye. You know, I'm out. Because, But yeah, it's been nice. I'm hoping it cools off at least a little bit, you know, so we're not having to constantly run the AC all the time, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, I have a sister who lives in
That's
Iowa.
not negotiable.
And I think in the summer they do a lot of things outdoors. Like they really enjoy the summer and do outside things. And I think in Texas, we just don't go outside because that's like the sunburn happens. Like,
right.
So there's, so like we go outside in winter when it's 75 and beautiful.
Whereas up north, we're like, no. I mean,
no.
Yes, but also
begrudgingly, we go outside during winter.
Because we like things like food and have to go to work.
Yeah. Well, and like I used to run like a playground meetup group for people to like playground hop and meet up with the same group of kids. And we would have to schedule those for like 7 a.m. in the summer because once it gets to 9 a.m., like you can't be outdoors. Like,
you're out.
And then also I let my kids stay up way too late in the summer because after dinner it actually cools off and we hang out outside and do things at night. And then so you just kind of learn to live the lifestyle, I think.
Adapt, you know.
Yeah, I used to not take off for summer. Like we would take off like later in the fall. Like August, there's nowhere to go. It sucks. It's hot, and so we would just do school then. Because the public school kids start school here like the flipping first week of August. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So once the public school kids go back to school, then you have your playgrounds and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory about the public school year, and my husband thinks that I am like full of it, and it's not true. But in Texas, they keep creeping the start of the year further and further into like at the beginning of August, whereas it used to start closer to Labor Day. And then they're ending before Memorial Day.
That's how we go.
I told him they're doing this because they don't want to deal with Pride Month. Like they don't want to have to do like hang up in Texas. Like they just don't want to have to deal with it. So like, let's just scoot the school year earlier and finish in May and then send the kids home to deal with it at home.
I think that's probably just a happy coincidence because here the reason it is because of when spring testing is. They have to have X amount of school days before the testing.
Oh, see, that's also a very important reason to change the school calendar.
Because I think y'all have that STAR testing or whatever it is, whereas we have LEAP, and it's like usually the week or two after spring break because we get Mardi Gras and spring break weeks. So I think it's the week after spring break or the week before. I can't remember. But anyway, they have to have X amount of days of classroom instruction.
Yeah, I know here that school ends normally about end of May-ish. And anyways, ends normally about end of May. But there were so many snow days this past year. I'm surprised that they didn't make it into June just because we were blizzard after blizzard after blizzard.
School doesn't end here until the end of June.
Really?
Yeah.
When do y'all
and they start after Labor Day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, it never started that. Like, we usually started before Labor Day, and we definitely were out before June because can't even begin to imagine how that is. Because that's what made me so aggravated. I'm like, I used to not go till like maybe the last week of August or last Friday or whatever. Now it's like the beginning. And I'm like, August is the #1 month for hurricanes. Like, why? Like, why do we have to start so early?
Yeah.
Hot. Nobody wants to, and then you start and then you have a hurricane and you miss however many days or week or whatever or worse. So
there was one hurricane and I don't remember, maybe it was Harvey, but it affected Houston, and our family, our family in Houston in August had to come live with us for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because like my husband was already in school and his brother is also a teacher, and like so their school was shut down. And so I was basically like entertaining their family, like let's go to the zoo and let's do all this stuff for 2 weeks. And
like all of our field trips are educational now.
Yes.
That's all counts for school. All of it, kids.
It really does.
Yep.
It really does. So
look, I was that mom that was like, okay, let's go to the pool and see what floats. Science.
Dude, we do all that stuff too. My little one is obsessed with bubbles, so we've just been like doing all kinds of different bubble tests and making bubbles and whatever. It's all good.
Look, I wrote a whole history curriculum on Doctor Who, so I didn't have to teach it to find one. So
they're like, oh, good. He's visiting Shakespeare this season. Aces. We get some A-book lit in there.
I made money off of that thing for a while, let me tell you.
If we can make it be about Harry Potter at our house, everything is Harry Potter. So whatever. Yes. You got to find what they're interested in. I don't care if all we talk about is like wizard stuff. Like we can do magic with science and it works out. It's all good.
Right.
There are honestly times where I kind of like, like going through school, because I went, with the public, school system. I always wondered, like growing up, like what it was like to be homeschooled. I always wanted to know, because I always kind of thought it just sounded more interesting than, like sitting through subjects that, because like math, like especially for me, was sometimes pretty difficult. And I always wondered like what it would have been like to just have a different way of potentially like learning it, but it was all right. Yeah. But I can definitely see now how like schools nowadays are completely messed up. Like I mean, I think I was probably one of the last few kids of that generation that actually went to public school and felt like, okay, I did, there wasn't so much indoctrination. I don't think anyway, at least not that I really perceived, but then again, as a kid, it's a bit harder to, see through it all. But I mean, especially hearing how schools are now, I'm just like, well, that was not what happened to me. It just was, just very interesting to see the differences now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the stuff my kids tell me, I'm like, and it's not even the woke stuff. It's just they don't learn anything, and they don't, because of the way the curriculum and the standards are now. It's like you can't even teach a concept a different way if that kid might learn it a different way, because you got to use the standard and make sure you use the standard on your board and
with the new math. Where
new math,
where there's no logic to it. And basically, I think the point is make the kids confused. They don't understand how it works, so they walk up to a calculator and do it that way. Because the calculator and your teacher is always right. You can't figure things out by yourself.
Let me tell you, these kids are smart, because that teachers pay teachers that I had my Doctor Who curriculum on, and it's still on for free if anybody wants it. It's there. They will figure out that their teachers are using whatever handouts or whatever. They're probably not handouts anymore, but I don't know, that's what we call them, handouts. And they go on Teachers Pay Teachers and buy the answer key.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
That's awesome.
I'm like, first of all, a little proud. Second of all, no.
You can't do this. Also, that's brilliant.
Right.
Well, like, number one, okay, you're going places, kid. But number two,
one of those places are not places that you get to by knowing your math.
Because we use those skills to maybe run a business, not go to jail.
Well, and I think a lot of school is like learning how to, like, traditional school is about learning how to play the game. Yes. Like what areas of my education do I need to spend time on to get the right grades that I want, and what things can I ignore and not have it affect me. I mean, I was like the queen of playing the system, and I wanted to get the best grades, but I knew, you only have a limited amount of time. Like, okay, if I do poorly on this assignment, it's only worth this percentage of my grade. It's not going to affect what happens. So I don't need to waste time on that. I need to just do it okay. And then the things that affect a larger portion. So like, I think that is the thing that holds a lot of kids back, is they don't learn that, like, how do I play the school game to get, because I mean, the smart kids are not necessarily doing that much better stuff. They've just learned how to focus on the parts of it that matter. And they don't have like a how to go to school 101 to like teach anybody. You kind of
but it's changed a lot just since, I mean,
well,
I'm probably the oldest one here, but it's not like it used to be that, and I'm sure you can ask your husband, but it used to be that you left high school and you could go to college, you could go to a career, you could do whatever. Now they have to pick these paths, at least in Louisiana. They have to pick these paths, and they have to know by freshman year, do I want to go to college or do I want to go get a tech thing?
Yes.
And it's, they make these decisions, and by the time it's too far in, they can't really undo the decision.
Well, and that happened when I was in high school, is because I chose the college track, I was not allowed to take home ec.
No, yeah.
Like, I wanted to take home ec. I was like, this would be the most fun class ever. And they're like, so sorry, you're college track. You're not allowed to know how to cook.
Yeah, you don't have time. You have these other primary units you have to get. Yeah.
So and these are like blanket, like, we're making this decision for everybody. Right. Somebody thinks they know best, and it's not individualized.
It's not. Like, my oldest had to, we put him on, and like every parent does, like I do in freshman year, you put him on university path, because what 13-year-old knows what they want to do?
Right.
But you put him on university path because, well, I want him to have the shot to go to college. Well, like my oldest, by the time he got to junior year, he's had a rough year. And he was not making it some of these classes. And we had to switch in the middle of the year to switch him to the other program. That you can do. But he still missed all those chances in the last year and a half that he could have taken some certifications, some extra things that he could have got some little extra stuff in. So all it really did was change the math, and so for senior year, he won't have any social studies. He won't have any history or science in the path he's in. So, but he will have a math, but he could take financial literacy for math.
Oh, good.
Algebra 3. I was like, yes. But like, why don't all the kids take financial literacy?
And that was my whole thing with high school too, is that, in high school, I took Spanish and French as my only 2 electives that I was allowed. So I had all of my other classes. But, I've always been interested in language learning. So I was like, okay, yeah, but I didn't realize that I was only getting like 2 electives and that was it.
Yeah,
And so when I had, and Spanish and French were considered electives. Yeah. And so there were all these other things that I wanted to do, but unless I wanted to stop taking one language or the other, which at that time was like, well, no, I want to do both. And so I missed out on home ec. I missed out on, and frankly, in high school, I had my mind set on wanting to be an interpreter. And like looking back now, that didn't happen because I'm not an interpreter. But I kind of realize now that I kind of like closed myself off to looking into any other possible career path. That then when I was in college, it was like, okay, we're still like a one track. They still do not prepare people for college at all. They don't. There were so many things that I came across that I'm like, boy, this would have been real great had I learned this in high school. I would be sitting here at like 10 o'clock at night trying to learn how to, write in AP, because all throughout high school, they had us write in MLA format.
MLA is the only way.
College, no, we wanted an APA format. Like, I'm like, well, this would have been real nice to know, or like how to form an appendix, or how to form, an abstract. Like, it's like this would have been great, or how to write a cover letter. Like all these things that now, now that I'm, out of college and everything, and trying to move on into the world, I'm like, boy, this would have been nice in high school, maybe in college too, who knows. But and they're just not doing it. And I just think, how do people expect people of my generation and the future to be successful when you don't teach us the things that we really, really actually need to know, as opposed to...
They don't want you to be successful.
Well, exactly. That's what it boils
They
down
want
to.
you to know the shit that they want you to know, and they don't care about the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Which is why they get all Twitter-pated when people are homeschooling and stuff, because you can't control that group of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope.
Although they try really hard in New York. I have to submit reports and tell them everything my kids have learned and what we're doing and what our plans are. And I really, really, really hate that part of it. But
I probably wouldn't if I had to do it.
Stephanie and I live in the land of the free.
Yeah, in Texas, there's zero reporting. So, and
do you have to tell them you're homeschooling?
So I had to tell them. So my eldest child went to public kindergarten, and when I withdrew her to homeschool, I had to tell them I'm withdrawing her with the intent to homeschool. Otherwise, they would have sent CPS out to be like, why? Where did your kid go? Like, you didn't move,
right?
Stuff,
yeah, what happened? So the only reason you would have to tell the state is if you're pulling them out of a public school, and then you only have to tell the school. You don't actually have to report to the state. And then if you never have your kids in school, you never have to tell them anything.
Wow.
For real.
Not quite that good. It's pretty close, although the current state of parents and legislation will probably piss it away soon enough. But because let's get school choice money, that'll be great.
No.
I've tried to tell them.
Right, not to veer the conversation off.
Sorry.
But it's amazing how many different programs, from anything to school choice to even back in the Tea Party movement, that how much they were destroyed by an influx of money. You'd think that they'd need money, but what someone pays for, they own.
Right. I don't know why they don't. I really don't. I've tried to explain it to them so many times, because in Louisiana you don't have to. There's two choices, and one of them we call the non-public option, which there's a longer name, and that one they don't know. You just tell them how many kids. So they don't know their names, their birth dates, any of that stuff. Right. But by high school, most people switch to the other method, because you have to use that method and get a certain ACT score if you want to get Louisiana's top tuition program. And free college money, but even then, you just fill out a little online thing, and every year, the years after, you renew. So really, it's only going to be like end of freshman year, end of sophomore and junior, because senior you're done. And you could write a list of your curriculum you use. You don't have to necessarily show samples. You could turn in a test score, like if you send your kid to get whatever testing or whatever. Most people just write a list of the curriculum they use, and that's it. Nobody ever looks at it. Nobody ever comes to your house. Nobody ever checks anything. They do know your name, the info on the student, because that's how you're going to prove that you did it, so you can get the money for college. And that diploma is the only one that's truly recognized. The other one's not officially. You can get it and you can do it and you can go get jobs and you can go to college, but the colleges don't have to accept that. The private one, that's their little loophole to try to get you to do the other version. But it's pretty low oversight. But yeah, parents are like, yeah, I want the ESAs and I want to get my money. I'm like, you're going to get like $200 a year, like for curriculum. And then you're just opening the door and saying, hey, come control what I do every day, because I paid for that. Like, you think they're going to let you buy your Christian curriculum?
Yeah. Well, we've had a huge influx of Californians, and one of my friends works for for the police department. And he said he thinks that like we've had a 20% increase in population, like just from California people.
Wow.
And a lot of them are like the more conservative Californians. A lot of them were homeschoolers already, and they're coming here and homeschooling. Like I've met tons of them myself. And a lot of them are for the bills that provide funding to homeschoolers. And because they like lived with it in California and they thought, oh, this is great, we get some money to buy our stuff, but they don't consider the freedom that you will then lose to choose what and how you want to teach. And like I understand like the hazard of like if you can teach your kids whatever, like you could be doing nothing. Like you could be just like totally.
And you do get those horrors.
You know what? So what?
Yeah.
And right. But the thing is like you can't take away everybody's freedom to choose their curriculum because there's a few people that aren't going to do anything.
We don't shut down public schools because you have seniors who read on the first grade level.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Right.
So what? I don't care if they do nothing. I care if they're abusing your kids. That's a different story. But I'm just like, you don't shut down public schools because there's an abuse kid in it. You don't shut down homeschooling because there's going to be kids that get abused.
So the Texas elections in the next few years are going to be very interesting to watch just because of the huge influx of Californians we've had.
Y'all should go make signs. Don't California my Texas.
I know. Well, it's like everyone's like, welcome. We're glad you're here. Don't mess this up.
Like, don't mess with Texas.
Don't do it. Don't mess it up. We welcome you, but don't do it.
Yeah, Karen's always saying it. She's like, no, I don't welcome them. No, they can go away.
See, I think if I didn't have the oversight, I don't know what I would do with myself. And maybe that's how the Californians feel, because literally every year I have to send a letter telling them what grade my kids are in, when we're schooling. I have to send a list of curriculum. Every quarter I have to send a report, and I have to say at the end of the year whether or not we did it. And so because that's how I've always homeschooled, if I went to a different state where they weren't like that, I might feel like I'm doing something wrong. And that might be where like, not that I'm saying that they're right, but when you have that much oversight over you, and then you go somewhere where they're like, hey, you can do whatever you want. You're like, but this feels wrong. Like, this is not what we do. I don't know what to do with this freedom. So I can see it.
I see it all the time in the homeschool group because I still run the Facebook homeschool group, and we're almost at like 20,000 people. And you get people that pull their kids from public school, and it is impossible sometimes to beat them over the head with the like, no, just go do what you want. Go do what you want. We don't. Well, who's going to check? Yeah. Nobody's going to check.
Oh, really? You're free now. You're free.
Well,
do I have to teach this? No, nobody cares.
Like, it's your responsibility.
Literally, get your kid to high school. Get your kid to high school. Make them pass the ACT with 1 point higher, and they got a free college ride just like all the kids in public school. So, do what you want. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, this is we're finishing our 3rd year now. And my husband, this is the first year I think he hasn't said to me, you guys should be doing school 8 hours every day. And I'm like, no, the reason they do that long is because they have to like wait for Johnny to go potty and for this kid to, eat their snack. And it's not because they're learning.
No,
like if we can do it in 2 hours, like that's we've done it. It doesn't matter.
Parents are like, well, I'm not qualified to teach. And I'm like, okay. So you're concerned. I get your concern, but shouldn't you be more concerned that you're going to put your kid into an environment that left you feeling unqualified to teach a kindergartner? So,
well, and my thing is like, I was a teacher.
So was I, but I still learned all kinds of stuff.
I have met the other teachers. Like, they're not that qualified.
They don't know everything.
They're not geniuses. Like, it's not like they have some kind of special gift. Like they might just really love their job. I mean, it's great, but it's not like they
know what the bulk of my education training was? Child development and classroom management.
Yes.
It wasn't like all the information of the world. It was...
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, one, people are afraid to take on responsibility, and 2, they want to pass the blame off to somebody else if things go wrong with their kids. So like, if you want to just throw them in school and not be involved, and then whether or not their kid turns out all right is the school's fault.
Right.
I mean, it's just this like total lack of like, this is my responsibility as a parent to make sure my child can be a functioning adult.
Right.
So, and I mean, there are definitely parents who send their kids to school that are involved and that, you know, help and make sure, you know, it's not everybody, but there's definitely people out there that are like, I just don't want to be involved in this. I want to just like outsource. So
right.
It's just a different mentality.
Society's created, like, it's become this thing where like soon enough parents are going to think they have to send their babies to school to learn to walk and talk, because it's so much, you know, you just assume that you're going to send them off. And it's like, that's another thing we get is, okay, I have a preschooler. What do we need to do? I'm like, play. You need to play and read and go outside and get dirty. That's all you need to do.
Yes.
And people freaking out. I'm like, I have a degree in that. I'm telling you, that's all you need to do.
Well, and you know, when I had my first child, it was kind of scary to be home with a baby. Like, you do not feel like you know what,
right.
Like, even though I was like a teacher and had been a babysitter, like, it's totally different when you're like home with an infant. And I knew friends that like when they went back to work and they could give their kid over to like a professional daycare, they were like, oh, this is such a relief, because these people know what they're doing. They're comfortable, but they don't give themselves time to get comfortable with childcare.
It's sort of the, I don't know, enchantment of not knowing. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and you're like, wow, it must be really nice and fancy back there, and they're microwaving stuff and they're doing whatever. And you're like, no, it's just frozen food that they're reheating. They're not doing anything special. It's not magical because it's behind a wall. It's like, oh, well, the daycare person must know what they're doing. It's like, no, you just don't see it.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's funny because my oldest just turned 10 a couple weeks ago. So I've been thinking a lot about when they were a baby. And like, I spent like weeks going, who trusted me to be in charge? I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. To be in charge while recovering from surgery and or getting a kid out.
Yeah. Yes. And then my husband was traveling for work, and I'm like, but what? But then again, he was way less equipped to handle a baby. He was like terrified of like picking them up and stuff when they were little. But yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to get in there and do it.
Just figure it out, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you do with homeschooling too. Like, you've been teaching them as babies and toddlers. You just keep doing it.
Keep doing it, what you were doing there, and you learn together, and that's what people don't get. I mean, you know, I learned all kinds of stuff homeschooling because I suck at math. I'm terrible at math. Ironically, that's what I do all day long. But I learned all kinds of ways to teach it, you know, that made more sense in my head. And I was like, that actually makes sense. I still suck at it, but it makes more sense now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't have to be fantastic at it. Everybody thinks that you're going to be like perfect right away. Like, my husband went to school for science, so I'm sitting there. We're learning about seeds, right? And I'm sounding this word out. I'm like, so these seeds are called monocotyledon. And my husband explodes out of his office. He goes, "That's a monocotyledon. It has this and da 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 da." And then the dicotyledon has two pieces, and it goes like. And I'm like, and Daddy knows all this stuff. And I just sat there and I listened with the kids because I didn't know any. Like, I was reading it. I was gonna teach them, but he like. That stuff he knows, so he came right out, and we all got a lesson, and it was so fun. But yeah, like, I don't know everything.
Teach that now.
Like, and he loves science, so like, I do like the bulk of it, and then if we need to like go talk about actual plants or bugs, or he's like all up on it, and I'm like, good, have fun. I'm good night. I'll see you later.
Oh, so not to totally pause the homeschooling conversation, but
sorry,
that's okay. No, just that Elle in the chat asked Morgan, "What are you working on again?" And also, we haven't done Morgan's times challenge yet.
I knew this was coming up.
I don't have a stopwatch. I'm not home. Do you have something, man?
I
have my phone.
Okay, Amy of the stopwatch.
Okay,
So
well,
I'm
first,
going to say
when
bye
she's ready.
really quick, Morgan, and then I've got to go cook dinner. Real life.
all right.
Sorry.
Hey,
That's
that's right.
If I can figure out how to log off. But you
I
guys
can kick you out.
have a great rest of your day. It was good talking to you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
So for Elle, I'm currently working
Oh,
on
wow.
my faux set. Like just past the sleeve, the splitting for the sleeves. So working on that. I can't
Look,
wait to
mine
wear
got this much
thing.
bigger.
See, I told you to go fast.
It knits itself.
It does. It really
I
does.
moved to another color.
Nice. I
That,
have
Oh,
total.
that
fancy.
blanket's gonna be so pretty. I can't wait to see it finished. All right, so we're doing the timing thing now, or what are we doing?
We'll get where you're comfortable.
Okay, here, let me.
Like,
Okay,
Mhm.
this is
Oh,
my
Oh, you made something ready.
this is my murder knits cardigan.
Oh, okay. Let me think.
She was
How long
waiting.
did we do it
It's on
for?
a knit row. She's got it all prepared.
Yep. Okay, wait.
How long
wait,
do we do
hold
it for, Anne?
1 minute.
1
on.
minute.
Okay, hold on. Let me
1
just get
minute.
myself bunch everything.
Hold on. Let me get to the 1 minute and then.
All right, almost ready. All right. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna beat Tabitha, or anything like that. So I don't know why I'm like,
You
I
should
still
always
want the
give
hooker
yourself-
challenge.
Exactly.
yes.
You should
Hooker
always give
challenge.
yourself the best chance you can to beat Tabitha.
Yep. All right.
Someday someone will. We just haven't found them
Someday.
yet.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Ready, set, go.
So while she's doing that, I'm sitting outside, and we have had air quality warnings all day long because of the fires in Canada. They're coming down. You can smell the smoke in the air.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The sun
Yeah, we-
has.
I was about to say that we had a bit of that a week or so back, and yeah, it was just hazy and gross.
Mhm.
So it'll get to be in
The
like
sun
3
is
days.
all like hazy. Yeah, I guess
It'll
so.
dissipate.
The moon was red last night. Like,
Oh.
it's just been so bizarro here.
That is weird.
I don't like it. Not a fan.
What are they up to? Though I did see a hello from Canada in the chat. So hi, Canada.
hello.
What's your
Yeah, that's my friend Melina, who made the beautiful bags for me for my April Showers challenge that I never picked a winner for. So I'll do that. Not tonight because I'm not home,
Stop.
but tomorrow.
Stop.
Yep.
Stop. Time's
All right,
up.
count.
Stop. I had my sound down. You couldn't hear it. Because I was at work and I was scrolling through and I didn't realize the volume was on at something. And all of a sudden, my friend that does the podcast I was telling y'all about IBLP, she pops up. It's like, hey, everybody. I'm like, shh, I'm on the phone at work. I'm like, text
45.
message, girl, you almost got me.
45?
45?
45.
That's not bad.
All right.
Here,
A little more practice. so
Faster than
maybe,
I was.
let me turn around and look because I have it on the wall. Let's see. Okay, so from down up the leaderboard, we have Birdie at 1, Horror Armorata at 2, Carrie at 16, Neil at 31, Tina 34, Holly, Liz, and Marie at 35, Lynn at 36, DK 37. Stephanie is at 41. So you beat all of those people. So big round of
Not
applause.
me.
Impressive.
There you go. And the upwards times to beat are Liz. I guess I should just distinguish that it was Liz from You and I that was at 35. Liz Clothier is at 53. Amy 57. Me, at 59, and Tabitha at 68.
I don't think anybody's beating Tabitha. I think we should redo Tabitha.
Yeah.
Why,
Do
you
an
think she's
average.
cheating?
Fact check that one.
You're
an
back,
average.
Tabitha. You know what? After all this time, Tabitha, we decided as a group that you cheated. And
I did not say she cheated. I'm just saying, for quality control purposes.
you know,
Well, then, if that's the road you're going down, then we all need to do it again. So
I know. I don't want to risk my 57.
So
I feel like I'm faster than I was, but maybe not.
Don't redo Tabitha. She'll just
do Tabitha.
Maybe that's really just what we should do every time.
That is true.
Redo it and see if she can just beat her own time every time.
Yeah. That'd be fun to watch. Well, and plus, like, I'm sitting, like, I'm not sitting, like, where, like, I normally would be, like, because normally I'll be, like, in a recliner while I'm knitting, and so, like, my, it's, like, different, so now, like, I'm sitting here, like, sitting up with no, like, arm
I gave myself the best possible position, trust me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I don't have to turn around, I don't have to slide anything, let's go. I think it was my,
Emily says, make her do it blindfolded with one hand tied behind her back.
Yeah.
for Tabitha, see how she's doing.
We do need we need a breakdown.
Leaderboard for Continental in English.
And that's what I was gonna say. Who's what?
I know.
Yeah, I do Continental.
I'm Continental.
Yeah.
Right. And we have said that we need
a
challenge board. So that'll be a thing sometime once we figure out how to do it.
Oh, crochet. Yeah, I'm down for crochet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be like.
I can crochet, but I don't think I'm fast.
Well, I was trying to think of I was literally awake one night trying to figure out the best way to do this. Literally, that's what happens to me. And I was thinking like granny squares or granny stripe. I mean, because single crochet, nobody wants to count single crochet, so that would suck.
Yeah.
So
maybe like half double.
Yeah,
crochet.
but sometimes with granny square you get messed up. Yeah.
No, you don't. You shouldn't.
I do.
It seems to me that however it'd be for crochet, because knitting, hey, first time, hello.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Hey. But yeah, it seems to me that for knitting, it's fairly easy to have a project on the go where you can just do plain stockinette for a while. But crochet is a little more difficult that way.
Yeah, well, that's why I was trying to think of something that.
But I would like
people do.
Mm-hmm.
I do want a breakdown of the leaderboard because all of you are ahead of me, and all of you are Continental, and I am not. I am English style, so I want to know like of the numbers, where does that fall? Everybody in the 30s with me, are they all the same as me or what? You know, it's interesting.
It's hard to know.
Amy's like,
It's a guy at the door knocking.
Amy's like, I'm gonna win,
but
I don't care about anything. I'm elbowing the rest of you out.
She's trying to figure out how to win. Yeah.
Well,
single crochet would be more comparable to knit stitches. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's just nobody wants to count.
What's happening?
Well, I was just trying to ignore the guy at the door who's not.
So,
like, don't he know we're here?
What does he want?
And he looked like he was selling AT&T or something. Although the other day I got a knock at the door and I was at work, and I wish I could have caught it on my doorbell because I'm pretty sure it was one of those kids selling that Southwestern Advantage MLM. Do you know what that one is?
I don't know about that.
They
No.
go around and they sell books. They try to sell books, but this one is like especially scammy because they have the kids move somewhere, like not in their area. So this kid's going to be from somewhere else, and he's staying with a family here. And he walks around all summer long having to sell these books, and it's basically a pyramid scheme MLM. And when I realized that's who he was after the fact, I was like, doggone it. I would have like talked to him and been like, don't do it, get out.
I know, because I know that, in Tabitha's Murder Knit group, everyone's showing what they're watching. And you've been watching a lot of MLM, and not Men Love Men.
No.
That's not what you're doing.
Back in the day, that's what it meant.
Right.
So
we've been on the internet
count
long
for the
enough
summer
that
murder?
we know what that means. And we're like, yeah, not so into it. But no. Multi-level marketing.
Multi-level marketing. Yes, it does count for Summer of Murder. Cults and like anti-MLM and true, like non-kill true crime. She said that
yeah,
those sisters. Did she say those?
I know she said
shiny happy people.
What?
The two sisters that are really fat. Is that the one she likes to watch on TLC?
Oh,
I don't know.
1,000-Pound Sisters.
There's something on there she likes to watch. It's like I don't care what it was.
I haven't heard of that one.
They're like 1,000 pounds or something added together.
Yeah. Yeah, 1,000 Pound Sister, the
Wow.
Slaytons.
Isn't that the one, Anne, she said you like?
I think so.
I think so.
I don't remember.
She watches stuff.
She does. She is an expert.
But yes, I have been
Yes.
binging anti-MLM content. So.
Here. Summer of Murder did start. You have to email Tabitha. I think she said in her last podcast her email, and you got to ask her to join the Telegram group. So
I'm
yes,
sure
get in on it.
Yeah.
What's up?
I'm pretty sure it's murdernits at gmail.com. Or I think if you comment on her YouTube or whatever, she'll tell you how to find her.
Yeah, but there's a way to get in touch with her. So I would check out her latest video. I'm sure she's talking about it. Could someone briefly explain what Telegram is? I'd like to check the Murdernits. It's another social media thing. It's kind of like a Discord channel. It's just lines and lines and lines of talking and pictures. And if you get behind like I do, you have to just scrap it and just start the whole thing over again, because once you get 700 messages in, you cannot come back from that. You just can't. You just have to pretend it didn't happen and try again.
Oh,
but
okay.
Where I've left and like people be talking, and I have sat and I have read it.
I scroll back and read almost everyone.
Can't do it.
But I do have a boring job sometimes, so have some time to do that. But
nope.
But you can
nope.
Basically, to explain to people, it's just like, it's not like a Facebook or an Instagram where you follow people. It's these chats or channels, and in it
they're groups,
chit chat back, literally just message back and forth.
Yeah, think of it more like a Facebook Messenger, just the messenger part.
Yeah,
and that you can have groups, and some people have it's like a group, but it's just one person posting, basically.
Yeah. And then sometimes there's like subgroups, which I'm glad not a lot of people do that. Like I think Anna's chat has like different chats inside the chat. That gets a little too much for me.
It's a little confusing.
Sometimes, but
I thought about doing that before.
I mean, you can post memes and GIFs and pictures and links and all that kind of stuff. So, and it's a little more private.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use your real name. You don't have to show your phone number or your email or any of that kind of stuff. So it is a little more private. So I remember for a while there, was it last summer or summer before, and that we all changed our names to something stupid because of that other group.
Y'all did. Back in the olden days, everybody, when Unsafe Space had their own chat, which a lot of us met through, back when Carrie and Carter were together. No longer. That thing blew up. But anyways, that there was a knitting following that happened from Unsafe Space. They had a Telegram chat, which is why I'll start to be on Telegram.
Which is how most of us met. So.
Right.
But for a while there was some trolls.
It turned into a thing.
Changed their name something stupid. So my name was like Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
And I saved your name.
I thought that was the funniest thing. I didn't know why you did it. Yeah, that's messed up. But that's, that's when I got into it, and I never knew who anybody was, and I didn't know why everybody had such weird names. And that's why I still don't know who people are, because then they changed them again, and now I'm like, I know who Ann is, I know who you are, I know Morgan. I know everybody in Liz's boxes. That's it.
If you save the person as a contact, it's going to save it however they were then. So like our friend Jo is something totally different than I think y'all see, because I gave her a particular name because I saved her in my phone that way. So I think it links to your phone maybe somehow. I'm not sure.
I think it does. I think
connect your phone to it.
Your phone number doesn't have to be visible to other people, but Telegram knows your phone number. Yeah.
Right. So I think it connects your contacts if you let it. So I have her saved just like Jo the Spicy Oz.
Oh, and we haven't said yet. So I believe they're all in the chat, or at least were. But Liz Clothier and Therese and Jo, they just started a podcast called Knit Night. That is N-I-E.
Clothier.
Clothier.
Say it right.
Right. I ain't French. Or in a region of French-ish speaking people.
Called Knit Night podcast. But I think on YouTube it's just Knit Night.
I think it. Hold on, let me look.
But it's knit like the night isn't it NITE?
Yeah.
It's not like nighttime. It's NITE.
Hold on, I'm looking. I'm gonna get it.
So, like I said, with those Telegram chats, when I just have to scrap it and start over, all of these people started podcasts, and I tried to watch them, and I just can't. It's too much pressure. I can't do it.
Yeah. So it's
I'm just gonna have to scrap it and start over.
Knit night, yeah.
Knit night.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
But you can, right here. You can just see when people tag you too, DK. So,
Yeah. I read it if people tag me, but I don't just like go knit night. Yep. There you go, friends.
Knit night, yeah.
We're having tech issues, which is frustrating, but we'll get there.
Their first episode, though. Yeah.
If you have questions, I might be able to help.
Here, one second. I forgive the clicking again, but I can put that in the chat.
And then our other friend made...
Look at you, Anne.
Oh, you could go find Tara's then. The yarn chicken and...
Oh.
What?
Yeah. Tara. Gosh, putting swear words in your title.
It's not technically a swear word. It has a thingy instead of the I.
Yeah. An exclamation point or something. Yeah.
And the thing is that YouTube, and I don't know if Rumble's this way. I think she's on Rumble too. But they don't like you searching for swear words. That even with like lighter, quote, lighter swear words, like if you have crap in your title, they don't like that either. They'll kind of, they won't like it as a search term.
But porn's okay.
Well, you got to have standards, Amy. Yeah. You have to draw the line somewhere, and the vulgar language is much more offensive than the porn.
Oh, I know obviously. That there.
One's art,
Right. But there's one here. Tara's new podcast, that's in the chat. But there's a YouTube channel that was homeschool related for years called Blimey Cow. And they thought it's a conspiracy. They're trying to keep us down because they don't like us searching Blimey Cow. And the thing, they're like, no, because Blimey is considered, a light expletive. So YouTube doesn't like it. Yeah, but there's there's some weird hang up in the YouTube system that it doesn't like it.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I didn't know that.
Anyways, so now you know.
Is that like an English curse word?
I guess so, but I wouldn't have thought it was that big in England.
I mean, I remember old comics and they're like, blimey!
Right.
Did they?
That was a curse word.
I don't know, or at least.
That's how I picture it,
At least one that English moms would be like, don't say that to your 5-year-old.
Well, I knew some words were like that. Isn't fanny a bad word over there?
I think so.
Well, that means something else. It means something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why they call them bum bags instead of fanny packs. So.
Which is somehow better.
I don't know. Kendra says she loves Blimey Cow. Weren't we supposed to have them on a year ago?
Yeah, then something happened. I'm not sure what, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
It happens sometimes.
Anne and I are so on top of this.
Sometimes that's how it be.
Well, like I told y'all earlier, I don't wait for an invitation. I'm just like, yeah, I'm available. Which one?
That's fine. That's how this show is supposed to be. Everybody's supposed to say, hey, what are you doing? I'm free. Which is handy for me because now that it's at dinner time at my house, there are going to be weeks where I'm going to be like, I hope somebody else can come because I got the people to feed. Them little people, that husband of mine. Good Lord, if I let him in charge of it, I've come out. Okay, so this is the perfect example. So the day that I picked up Anne, I had to drive to Pennsylvania to pick up Anne, and then we drove back, and we didn't get to my house until 7 or 8. One of my kids was still finishing supper because he made something that was so disgusting looking nobody would eat it. And so I have to save my children from that fate because it's horrible. Who wants that? He told him it was gopher guts. It was some sort of black rice, and it was just, yeah, no, it was no good.
Black rice is yummy, but it's not pretty.
No, and if you've never had it before, and then your father tells you it's roadkill,
yeah.
even if it's delicious, you're still going to feel gross about eating it. So it's a thing.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That's something I would think a kid would willingly just jump out and eat, you know?
Right. But if I had served it to him and said, hey, this is just different rice, they would have eaten it. But no, he had to go say, hey, it's gopher guts. And then everybody was like all Twitter pated for days. They talked about it for like 2 months after that, actually.
And don't tell kids gopher gut. Thankfully, mine are old enough to take care of themselves. So I texted him. I was like, okay, if I'm still on when you get back, go cook the taco meat.
Yep, that's awesome.
Mama's doing.
Mama's busy. Work it out.
Figure it out. That's been the mantra for a long time. You don't like what I'm making for dinner? We'll go find something. So
Yep.
Eat it or cook it yourself.
This is the we got it backwards here. See? Joe says.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now I knew that.
So there you go.
But it's still like a naughty word, right? It's not just like the given word you would say.
Mm-mm.
Believe so.
Right.
Commonwealth people, what's with that?
Right?
You can't trust those prisoners down there, I'll tell you.
Well, we can't trust those not prisoners up there in Canada. Sorry to diss the Canada friends, but y'all, they be having kill pods in the nursing homes.
No.
Yeah,
for real now?
Like, yeah, they're like, hey, first off, that the doctors, not to this detoured quickly, that the doctors, it's they're supposed to say first, hey, want to die? And that they have that quote service directly in the nursing homes.
Well,
that's going to get out of control.
That's all I can say.
They got some what?
Consent.
It's.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Can I have my leg surgery instead? Nope, death is all I got.
Hey,
that's what it's like, though. I'm
got.
still mystified by the kid who had depression and didn't have a girlfriend. And they were like, so suicide?
Yeah.
Like, what?
You know, the stuff that you would, you know, again, that some people, you know, when they're making jokes will be like, no, on YouTube. They'll be like, oh, you know, in Minecraft, you know, whatever. Like, but the Canadian government is looking at you like, so kill yourself.
Right.
Something would get you, you know, blocked for a comment in other places.
Yes, that was a thing for quite a while. I don't know if it's still a thing. My kids would be playing Roblox and they would type it KYS instead of saying it out loud. And I'm like, it still means the same thing. Stop saying.
Don't be that guy.
But mom,
that's why my kids aren't allowed to talk to people on Roblox.
Yeah, I didn't let them play a lot when they were younger. When it first came out, it was like when it first came out, it was like educationally. Then it went down this dark path. I was just like, whoa, what is your Roblox person doing?
Great.
Mods for that.
It's just one more thing I have to worry about.
Great. Can we not do
that? Yeah. Oh, and this is also total. My phone does not want to keep a charge. What the heck, phone? Anyways, I was going to say, also in non-knitting news, but kind of knitting news, because it's our show, that we have our guest for this upcoming week is Jason Sandberg, and he is selling a comic book, and it's really cool. And
he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Saturday show.
Yeah, he is incredibly knowledgeable. But yeah, he's funny to talk to because he's very well informed, but he's also incredibly optimistic. So he's like, no, this is great. This is a comic book for all ages. It's kind of a coming of age story, facing your problems, with this young girl in a world where there's not really all these comic books, and it's really great. And yeah, it was a good talk.
Facing your problems. What?
Facing your
Facing
problems.
them.
Yeah.
Oh no, we change our gender and run away.
Exactly. Facing your problems and having hope for the future. I'm not sure that's allowed anymore.
You know what? That sounds like extremism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only crazy.
Extremism on your show here.
Yes, extremism.
Well, what's new?
I know. Such as independent comic book creators who just want kids to be happy without having any,
Go
nudity
figure.
or the worst.
Blimey.
Anyways, if you want to check it out before our interview comes out, it's called Jupiter. It's on Indiegogo, and his name is Jason Sandberg. So he's a pretty cool dude.
He's pretty cool. And then we have another interview we're doing all the podcasts this week, like all of them. And that's going to be fun too. That's the blanket for the unborn. And that's the coolest project I've heard of in a while.
What is
have
that?
we talked about it yet on the show?
Okay,
so there's this woman. She's in Kentucky, Alabama. She's somewhere in that area of the country.
Okay. Sorry.
And she has this project that is it's very, very specific about which squares you can make, which colors you can use, how you make them. And every stitch represents a baby that has been aborted. So there's going to be 60 something million stitches in this blanket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's a really cool project. So we're going to be talking to her too, which is awesome.
Well, that's awesome. I want to know about that. Cool.
Oh yeah, I'll give you a link. I'll drop a link so everybody can see it.
I am the pro-life knitter.
You are the pro-life knitter. You should know about it. No, I found about. Oh, sorry.
No, that was just me clearing my throat.
Go ahead first. Go.
Oh, I was just gonna say I was lucky enough to have lunch with the lady who was doing Crafting Conservative. She's got a new book project, and so she and I got together and chatted, and she gave me the lead on this woman. I had never heard of her either.
Yeah.
So ironically, I found out about her from a liberal pro-choicer because she's doing a book project. So it's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
Yeah. She's one of the ones I like, though, because I can talk to her and she's still very nice. She might think I'm crazy, but she doesn't say it, so that's fine.
I do have some of those. They do exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's fun. We had a great time.
Yeah, so I always remember.
What were you going to say, Anne?
Oh,
Morgan, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say that I just, remember the days when it's like, at least in my family anyway, when it's like politics, religion, finances, like none of that was a topic of conversation at all amongst anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, you just
Yeah.
didn't. And I mean, I get why. I guess maybe now, maybe that mindset, wasn't entirely the best. But now that things have sort of just gone so far, to the deep end, it's like, well, again, like the whole concept of, we just want to knit being a bad thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I just, because I was somewhat, I had some somewhat, liberal ideas, before, but then as soon as like Ravelry happened, it was kind of like the, starting point of me, looking into the other side's, opinion on things. And it was kind of like, well, I wouldn't have, learned about this by talking about it with anyone because that just wasn't a thing. But then it was just like, well, that whole not ever really talking about it in, quote unquote, polite conversation, that was out the window. So it was like, well,
And I find too that it's okay, so I've always been political and religious. Sorry. So I, talking about it is kind of a thing, but that the sort of degrees of friendship that you have with people,
right.
that it's like, okay, so I mean, I won't, if we were all in a knitting group in the same region and we just all showed up because there was a flyer at the library, I wouldn't necessarily come out of the gate and be like, woohoo, Trump. Like, I would have
But
sat
why
around. I would have
No. Anne would walk in the door, smack down her British flag, and be like, let's talk politics.
Be like, and you know what? I'm for the Iraq War too, let me tell you. And just like
she would wear her Trump undesirable #1 thing pinned to her shirt. Let's go.
Her Betsy Ross hat. She's gonna be decked out.
Yep.
Exactly. Be like, oh no, don't mind me. I'm fine. And let me tell you. No, but that, you read a room and you're like, okay, this is a more liberal crowd, or perhaps you might say something. Right.
Like, hey, what are you working on? That's cool.
Well, it used to not be.
Well,
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. And then it's okay, so once you get to know each other more, you can talk about things more, or you could, maybe some people in the group agree with you and you mention it sometimes, but like, it's things like that. It's like, I don't know, for me at least, that I'm like, that the acquaintance can't get beyond a certain friendship point if you're not allowed to talk about these issues. But if you're immediately like that, I can't be associated with even the smell of you, then you can't have those,
right.
Can't have even casual acquaintances or friendships. And that's, was all the Ravelry stuff, the don't even think the word Trump positively and you're out.
Yeah, that's why. Oh, sorry, Amy.
I was about to say, like, I guess if you think about the old days, like, in the old days, like, older than me, that you didn't know anybody's politics until they maybe stuck a sign in their yard. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Or maybe your grandparents were talking about who they voted for or whatever. It wasn't like, because you didn't have social media, so it's not like you just, like, here's my profile picture of I'm Trump or I'm Biden or whatever. It wasn't just immediately the first thing somebody saw about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes a big difference now too. It's just out there.
Well, and like, I've noticed, because, I used to go to a knit night, and, I, for a while, would kind of just, sit there, because they'd start talking about politics. And of course, they all were just, speaking poorly about, conservatives are this, conservatives are that, and, after the whole Ravelry thing had kind of happened, I would just, because then I became a little bit more conservative in my thinking, had a bit, I agreed with more conservative, points. And so I would just sit there and just kind of be like, just keep knitting away. Like, I would not look up. I wouldn't look at anyone. I wouldn't, like, because I'm just like, I was the only person in that room who did not agree. And I know that I was the only person because everybody else was just, like, chiming in around the table about this conservative being that, that other conservative. And there was a thing for one of our midterm elections. One of the candidates, Mandela Barnes, that I don't know if y'all heard of him at all. Okay, well, pretty radical, pretty, had the quote of, well, I'm not gonna be able to get the direct quote exact, but the paraphrase of basically letting prisoners out was considered sexy.
What?
I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
I wish I were.
Here, but
that does it for me every time.
That should not be out in public.
No, but he said it. And
there's a club for that, but don't
share. Right. And it just so happens that Mandela Barnes is black, and he ran against Ron Johnson. And I heard, and after
not
the
a white
come on, man.
Johnson, I can see it right now. I don't even need you to know.
Well,
like 10 jokes just went off in my head.
Well, and he lost. Barnes lost, and I went to knit night. I think it was like the week after, and one of the ladies there started essentially just talking about how so upset that that Barnes didn't win, and she said, yeah, those conservatives didn't vote for him probably because he's black. And I just sat there and I was kind of like, I could feel my ears burning. I was just like, but I kept looking down, because I just knew that if I were to ever say anything, it was gonna be like this, it was like 7 against 1, Yeah. It's like, what's the point?
This is when you need to adopt my I don't give a shit attitude. This is when you go in a knit night with a hoodie on that zips, and then just as they're talking, you just slowly unzip the hoodie, and it says Trump.
MAGA.
Yeah.
MAGA.
So there's
don't say
ultra
a word.
MAGA. I mean,
don't say a word. Just take the red hat out the bag and put it on.
Right there.
That's right.
So there was this live stream that I caught. It was by a gal named Lady Gravemaster, and she's a mod, I think, for some of the Geeks and Gamers channels. Anyways, super Catholic, but she was telling this story of this book club that she was in, and basically this lady, she was loud and she was liberal, and she insisted that they read this book. So everybody read the book, and she's like, this is terrible. This is dreadful. It's just smut. The characters are unlikable and horrible to each other. And I forget, she's like, it's one of those stories where I'm a villain, but this is my, not even redemption. I'm still a jerk, but basically you should care about, me all the time. It was a me book from the villain's perspective. No, nothing. And there was like 5 more books in this series. And she's like, and so she went to the book club and said, okay, look, if y'all want to read this, fine. No, I'm done. I'm stopping. I can't. This is horrible. This isn't proper literature. And anyway, so there was a fight basically at it, in which the liberal woman went off on how awful she was and not understanding the brilliance of this book, and basically called her every awful name there is, and said how horrible and repressed she must be with her husband and homeschool kids. She's like, I haven't even mentioned my husband to this woman. Was she? Well, she pegged me, but also she pegged me as a one of those Christian homeschooling types, but not like, I haven't discussed my life and you're suddenly calling me all these names. Anyways, Miss Lady Gravemaster ended up throwing a cupcake at her and leaving. And
I want to go to book club. This sounds fun.
I know. And then she's like, fine, I'm out. And she, and then the other women from the book club were like, yeah, we didn't like the book either, but we didn't want to say anything. And basically, and then, after all of that, the book club ended up being disbanded shortly after. So,
see,
but she was out. She left.
Now, I understand that not everybody wants to be the person saying it. But like, once somebody does say it, that's when you also back them up.
Right.
Because this is the reason why liberals think that we're such a minority.
Right.
Like, I get Morgan's situation. She knew she was the only one there. What was the point? But if Ann and I were hanging out here and we had a wrong idea and you two told us that, that's a normal thing people do. You don't have to just...
Yeah.
People are so dumb.
Shocker. We don't all agree.
Maybe crazy.
Even amongst our little Telegram chats and all that, we do not all agree. Me and Ann have had many a conversation. I think you're wrong, but okay.
I know. There's been many times like, Amy, I love you. I respect you a lot. But I'm like, not so sure. Not so sure what you're saying there.
And I'm okay with that. I don't care.
And she's done the same to me.
But that's because we're normal people.
I don't care.
Yeah.
There's like this not infamous, but in my hello Cattail, but in my
this is Sarah.
In my homeschool
Cute.
Facebook group, there's a video that I pop up every now and then that I went on this rant one time because they were arguing back and forth about stupid political stuff. So I did like this rant for like 10 minutes about the ways I don't care. And that nobody cares. And that's not what the point of the group is about. So just shut up and, either ask the question you need to ask or be quiet.
Yeah.
So
the men are home.
Is that something you can share with the rest of us?
What?
I want to see the rant now.
Oh, I'd have to find it. I'll have to find it and put it in the message or something because it was just mostly about like, I forget because we're not secular, but I'm a whatever. I don't care. I don't care what kind of homeschool you use because some people do like the public school at home, and other groups are like, well, that's not really homeschool. I'm like, okay, legally it's not homeschooling. We tell them that so they know the legality of it, that they don't go do the instructions I say for how you homeschool because that would confuse things. Mm-hmm. But I don't care. Your kid is at home. I don't care what curriculum you use or anything. So basically it was a rant of that for like 10 minutes of it doesn't matter. No, it really doesn't matter because everybody was just getting so hung up on being right. Excuse me, my men are unhappy. Let me see the situation.
So, you ladies can keep on keeping on, but I'm going to bounce. I think my kid cut themselves with a knife. I'm going to go find out what exactly happened.
That's kind of important.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're fine. I mean, they're inside with grandparents, but now that I know, I feel like I need to go do some mothering. So,
understandable.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yes.
I'll see you again soon. So, all right.
See you, DK.
If I can get out of here. Bye.
Yes, apparently they want me to cook too, so I will have to go soon.
Well, I mean, it is early for us. We normally end around 2, but we can have an early one if y'all are feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little bit yet, but eventually I gotta make dinner too. I think I'm just gonna do breakfast for dinner.
I love breakfast for dinner.
Well, and plus I didn't take out any, anything to thaw out. I still have. If anybody's got any recommendations for what to cook with a beef heart, I could use it. A beef heart.
Oh, beef heart's pretty good.
Yeah, I got one of those. And if anyone has any good brisket recipes, I could use those too because I got a whole brisket in my freezer. I've never cooked a brisket, and I don't want to screw it up.
I know. So, I've never done the full brisket either, so it's.
I've never done it. I've only done it like once. Most people I know smoke it on the grill.
Yeah, we have a grill, and I could probably get.
So I mean, it's not smoked like in a smoker, but they do it on the grill, all wrapped up.
Yeah,
might do it because I've got and see the thing is that it's such a big brisket that I don't have a big enough crock pot for it either.
You can cut it.
Oh well, true. Yeah, that's true.
I have one sock before we go. See that? It's a sock. I'm finished.
So you have one pair and one sock, right?
And one sock, yes, so far.
Making good progress.
There you go. I ain't losing my own stupid challenge that I don't need to do. But
you're not losing it if you already are one pair and one sock down.
Yeah.
And I also, while we were sitting here, fixed the hole in the heel. So in case anyone was just like terribly worried, it's there. So anyways, sorry. Keep on going.
Cruising on through the pink, and then I'm not going to have enough of the gray. So I think what I'm going to do, because I had to use a gray in between each color to kind of make those mini stretch. I think I'm going to use like a white. So it's kind of like the dark clouds go to the rainbow, then to the white cloud. Is that dumb?
No.
That works.
Yeah, I think it'll look really pretty.
Because after you're done at the V, you start decreasing and it becomes flat, like the bottom. It's a really cool pattern, that heirloom chevron throw.
It's free?
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. I think it's free. Maybe not. I might have stolen it from Denise's Ravelry.
Is it one of those where it, like, you do multiple portions of it and stitch together?
No, it's just one big chevron.
Nice.
Back and forth.
Okay.
So, and I want to make one again. The only difference I'll do is, this is the right side. I think it would be cool to do a pearl, well, a raised line in the middle because it's all garter. I think it'd be cool to do a knit stitch on the pearl side so that it raises the line in the middle. Nice. I guess it's kind of like a big northeasterly, I guess is all it really is. I think.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try to cruise on this Murder Knits cardigan and try to get to the cable panel somewhat quickly because it's more fun to do it that way. But see, actually, I should probably ask Liz later if she'd recommend it because she's got the option of doing the Murder Knits cardigan either seamed or if you want to pick up and knit. I should probably ask her which one would be better because I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, I don't know, and I've been meaning to ask, but I always keep getting into other stuff and I forget.
It's okay. Just do what I do and have your text messages live. Be like, hey, Liz.
Yeah.
Just
While
hope
I'm
that
here.
You see this sometimes. Liz, you are under no obligation to watch absolutely everything, but in case,
Right. While I'm here.
I would like, while we're talking to Liz, hi Liz, I'm wondering how much I could bribe her to do a hoodie version because I
like that idea.
Definitely take the concept and make a whole new pattern. I'm not saying that you need to add to the Murder Knits, but I had this idea for a boxing robe a while ago and then over 6 months ago. And she's like, oh, well, I'm making this Murder Knits cardigan. That's similar. I'm like, that's a great idea. And I never touched the idea again. But she's making a real sweater pattern, which is much better than what I do, which is just think about making real sweater patterns. So they're like, Liz, you already have the construction down. Can I bribe you? Please.
Since it's a bathrobe thing, can't you just make the collar go up?
I think so.
Maybe.
But
don't see why not.
That would be math and planning. So I'm sure it's very doable, but also, she's a professional. I'm not. So.
All right. Well, I need to go assist in the kitchen. Although it sounds like he's got it under control, but I will go.
Sounds busy in there.
Well, we are almost coming up on 2 hours anyway, so yeah, we can wrap it up.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me crash.
Thanks, both of you, for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and for helping me promote stuff. I really do. I really do appreciate it a lot.
Definitely. Here, 1 second. So go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you. Liz. Sorry. Liz says she's going to do the hood. Thanks, Liz.
All right.
Pieces might be faster.
You don't actually have to, Liz. I am guilting you on air publicly. Don't fall for it. You don't have
that's how I got my colorway from Lynn.
Hey, that works. But
oh yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Morgan, again, where can we find you?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram as Handmade by M.E.43. It's kind of a lot to remember, I know. And then on YouTube, it's just Handmade by M.E. And I think I put another period after that. But I think if you search it on YouTube, even if you don't include the extra period at the end, I'm pretty sure it'll still come up. And then I'm on Telegram too.
Yeah. It did come up that way when I found you just now. Yesterday,
okay.
I was digging around for your stuff, but I had it in my head that it was made by Emmy instead of handmade.
Oh,
so
okay.
I thought I knew her stuff. Where is it? Like,
where'd it go?
Right. Handmade by Emmy.
Yep.
There you go. And I'm Pro Life Knitter on Instagram, my secret identity. And then I'm the little sis of Two Sisters and Some Yarn on YouTube and Instagram. So, which eventually we will record again. And I have another surprise coming from Tina. So
Denise has been going wild on the summer sock camp.
Yes, she usually does. I will say on air, live for witnesses, she doesn't get to count in anything for Shark Week.
Oh.
She's already told me she's not going to follow the rules.
Well, Denise, play along at home. Come on.
She's going to play along at home, but she won't do the whole start and when you're supposed to.
Well, if ever a woman really could whip out a pair of socks in a week,
it'd be her.
I know. We're going to work on guilting her.
Right.
Because she's like, well, I thought it had to be shark. I'm like, it doesn't have to be Shark themed because she already says she has the Shark Week yarn like started on something. So it doesn't have to be that. That's just if you want to.
Right.
You know. I'm like, make a pair of DK socks. But once you put a deadline or a pressure on her, she's out.
Oh, well. But yeah.
But she's the frogging. It shouldn't bother her to frog. So I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, well.
But I'm excited for Shark
Not
Week.
time yet.
Exactly. I know. I am too. Said before, but Lynn, she has a Shark Week colorway. Tina hasn't showed her Shark Week colorway publicly yet that I know of, but it's awesome. She's doing a sock set. That Holly from Mystery Mouse, love her Shark Week colorway. I think it's sold out, so you might have to like needle her to get more. But yeah. Oh, Susan from Delightful Works has bag.
She did have me buy her that for her birthday present.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, Morgan, do you have a bag too?
Yeah. I got one, I think, the day after you showed yours on the show. I'm like, I need to have it. I need to have it.
Right.
So I was like, quick, click, order. I got mine ready to go.
Sorry.
But yeah. Anyways, sorry. I'll let you gals go. Hope the cat is okay.
She's getting in the way of cooking, so. All right. Bye, y'all.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. And we will see you Saturday. All right. Bye.
Bye.